I have to ask, are you a man of God, Brandon?
You may not be my enemy.
Was it always meant to be this way?
You would have tried to kill me by now. That's how I know you ain't all bad.
But I know she's out there. I've been looking for that bear. Right there. The punishment for sin is the sin itself.
What's your deal?
I'm just tracking someone.
Let's calm down.
Where is my daughter?
Pray for us sinners, now and in the hour of our death.
And action.
Hi guys, my name's Isaiah. I'm here with John DiMarco. We are two filmmakers. And over the course of this entire year, as we're still in it, what are we in November? We've been producing short films. John, how many have we done? What is it?
A collection. Hold on. I have to now. You caught me off guard. I know this is a question. Hold on. Thank you for doing this. So in the sense of how many we've done, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So that's
6, and we're working on 7, I guess.
Yeah. So with all that being said, I wanted to, I guess, bring all the directors that have done these projects with us. Starting, I guess we're doing it in reverse a little bit. Election was first. But in this case, we did the film Missing. John, I'm going to actually give you a chance to introduce yourself if you want to, and then we'll jump into it.
Okay, well, I'm John DiMarco. I am a filmmaker out of Las Vegas. Well, yes, out of Las Vegas, from New Jersey originally. Been out here 12 years. Yeah, 12 years. As of August, it's 12 years. Been doing the film thing out here for about, let's say, 7. Well, I've been 10 years working, but like 7 years doing more of the freelance stuff on the side when doing more projects. Really started that in like 2014-ish, 2015. So it's been 10 years. So yeah, just been growing and learning and moving and shaking and trying to do the best I can just as a DP mostly. This is my first foray as a director, as a legitimate director. I did direct myself in Oh No. So I don't really count that because it was myself and buddies. So I mean, this is like the first time I really directed. So yeah.
And we're definitely gonna get into that because
Okay.
it blew my mind with that one. First time directing and blew my mind. I set up this director's interview kind of as a retrospective, but also introspective on how things just materialized and then kind of just evolved over the course of time. So we'll to that. I do have a few questions for you, John. Each question is a part of some sort of overall topic.
Yeah.
We're going to start off with origins.
Okay.
A little bit into the pre-production and the development of stuff. We will work our way into the development and collaboration because there was some hands on this project. And then we'll get into production and talk about the reflection, the bigger picture with this film, Missing. Or as I call it, John DiMarco's Missing.
Or as I just call it, Missing.
Missing. What was your first reaction after reading the original draft of Missing?
My first reaction was there's so much more to tell to the story, and there's just so much meat that's like left on the bone that there needed to be more said, and there's more to it, and there could have been more. Like Isaiah, you had basically the bones to it, right? Where it's like, okay, well, I see what he's trying to do, but like, what if we pushed it in directions that were different and just like added to it and kind of like opened up the world and kind of made it into more of a like, okay, who are these two people and like, how do we get from here to here and make it more dynamic in that respect?
Yeah. And that's another thing too, with the short films, a lot of them, I tried to stick to just that. But I think Missing was one of the first projects. Remind me, I did not give you a tone breakdown, did I?
You didn't give me anything, I don't think.
Yeah,
You just gave me the script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But every other director that I worked with, I felt like I needed to keep them on those guardrails. And
Yeah.
you guys are watching this. I don't know what to tell y'all. It's nothing personal, but you know, when you're the people that originally, and I'll say this to not better my words because I said what I said, but the the directors that we brought on, they were actors at one point. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's about the approach is what I'm trying to say. They approached it. Some of them approached them as actors. You know, they look at the project and then they're like, "Oh, this is good," and then they'll look back at me like, "What are we gonna do?" So when we got to when I got the chance to provide you the script, and then I said, "Dude, I hope he just goes with it," and you just went with it. Again, we're gonna get into that in a little bit. Um, it was the sense of watching everything evolve, and I think I like that more than being in my own realm as the writer and watching draft one turn into draft two, and then draft three, and then draft four.
Yeah.
Seeing how it played out between you and all the collaborative efforts, I think that was one thing that really got me. What were your first instincts about the tone, the genre, and emotional direction of the story and the characters?
Uh, my first instincts. Oh man, I feel like I'm bullshit. I have a bullshit answer here, like I they just spoke. They like kind of just spoke to me about like like I said, when I read the first script, I go, okay, this is who this person is, and this is who this person is. And I try to put like markers on it. Isn't markers the right word? But like I put like um boundaries, I guess, in the characters where I'm like, this person, Steve, is religious. He's very like. Am I answering? I feel like am I not answering your question? I feel like a politician right now.
No.
No, all right.
You're totally answering it.
All right. All right. Like Steve is like under this specific thing. Like this is how I'm reading it, right? Like when you read the first draft, it's very Trump supportive. And I'm not trying to get political. It's just how I'm looking at it, right? From a perspective.
Yeah,
It was like very Trumpy of a supporter, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I read that first
yeah.
draft.
No, you're absolutely right.
So,
Yeah. Mhm.
and then like that other character is completely different. So it's both. It's always the two sides of the same coin of like who they are. It was very political in that respect. It
Yeah.
felt political, but I kind of want to take away the political aspect and think more religious and think more is about the post-apocalyptic. I like watching. I was watching a lot of Tarkovsky films at the time too, like Russian cinema. He's a Christian person who believes in like like he's very like symbolic with his imagery and stuff like that. So I kind of went down that road and like kind of like thought about like just like how I thought as a kid, kind of weirdly enough, about like I went to Catholic school, right? So like I know some religious stuff and shit like that, and I thought that'd be an interesting aspect to take it down and make it more about not politics, but about trusting people in
Yeah.
like this post-apocalyptic world and like the belief of someone. Are they telling the truth? You just met this person for the first time while you're also searching for your daughter who's been missing for 2 weeks, and you're like, where's your mindset, right? So
Mm.
like, who are you trusting? Who are you telling the truth to as well as a person? So there's a lot of things in that respect, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that's actually really perfect. And to add on a little bit, it was meant to be political. I think within that first draft, and you all can read it on Instagram. Things have been posted. Don't forget to follow the page. But the purpose of it was, and it's especially in the backstory where Steve is telling a little bit of what happened to their civilization. Um, the description that he gives about a cure or this virus going around or whatever the case is, that's akin to the 2020 pandemic and the
Mm.
differences and all that stuff that you had from the political spectrum at that time. So I'm happy that flowed, but I'm also happy that you looked at it and said there's more to this, because everybody knows that a film, a script at that, is just an onion. There's layers, there's always
Yeah.
something to be added or taken away.
And
Um, go
also,
ahead.
sorry, and
Yeah.
also like too, I wanted to take it away from like I want people to think as well, the audience to take away is not like what like is it a zombie apocalypse? Is it like a fucking is it the fucking oh my god, the rapture?
Yeah.
Like these are the questions I want them to think about. Like it's open ended. So like
Yeah.
it's one less thing we have to worry about, and it's like oh, it's a zombie outbreak or some shit. Like, it's up to you to decide what you think it is. Cause
Yeah.
it's very, I kept it more vague in the dialogue.
Yeah, and I noticed that. I think that's one thing that I, as one of the writers, I think that's one thing that I liked about it was the fact that in the original version, you get told exactly like along the lines of what it is. It's not like you're a zombie, but you do get driven mad. You hurt people, you hurt things, and then you just go off into the night. Very vague, very nuanced, but to have you bring on these different perspectives of it, that's what I loved about it the most. And I was just telling my friend this a few days ago. We watched the film, not missing, but we watched the Fairfax incident and all of the short films, and so we ended up talking about missing. And I ended up telling him that there's this idea with this version that you have that what happened, yes, but there are good people and there are bad people, and it's like just world building at its finest. That's just what I'm gonna say. At the time, you were primarily serving as the director of photography, which we talked about a little bit. Within the Batteries Not Included Media Presents lineup, what made you say yes to directing this short film, Missing?
Well, great question, because in that I've and I'll be very honest about this. I've said
Yeah.
this to you before in other conversations. I don't want to direct. I kind of want to focus on just being a DP, and that's the most important thing to me, is just being better at being a DP, right? Like, because if I start weighing my energies to somewhere else, I'm not gonna be. How can I get better at something else? But
Right.
then again, there's always that challenge in the back of my mind that's like, okay, you can do this, because again, you've seen so many films of not great quality, of not great, like, and you've been on sets. I've been on sets, like, to say that I've seen directors who aren't great, and I'm like, I could have done this. And like, I went into it. I think after this certain movie that we did, I kind of was like, I can do this, and I know I can do this. There's no doubt in my mind that I can do this. Like, it just gave me a spark where I was like, I want to try it. I want to really put my foot forward and give it the fucking best shot, and I know I will. And I hopefully people see that with Missing, like how much energy, love, passion, creativity, and like not just from me, but from everyone in general. And like that's another story but for later on. But just I know I could do good, and I think, like, when I read it, I was like, yeah, I can do this. I know what I want. I know what I see, and I know it's gonna be like, I'm just gonna be fucking hyper focused.
Yeah. I will say this: there was an amount of confidence where I was just like, this person is right for the job. I don't know if there's anyone watching this, whether it's Christopher Nolan, just so many different directors on the line. But I'll give John his flowers now. He did the damn thing. He totally did, and we'll get into that. Going forward, we have a new topic: development and collaboration. So that's
Okay.
actually perfect. First question: how did you originally approach this project? Did you find it difficult to differ or set aside the director of photography role to get into the director role?
Uh that's I thought about that earlier, actually, because I was funny enough, I was doing that while I was taking a piss. I was like thinking about that question. But for no, but honestly, you know what? I how do I answer that? How do I say that in a complete sentence where I'm like, I knew what I wanted, right? So I knew, like, when I read the script visually, being that DP, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and it didn't differ, right? You're asking if it differed, right?
Yeah.
It didn't differ, because as a director, you're looking at everything, right? You're looking at what you want as a tone, as angles, as this, as that, as set design, as all that shit. It's like kind of like you're one step away from the DP anyway, because
Yeah.
you're telling them what you want language wise and stuff like that. So like, I knew the language I wanted to tell. All I had to do was translate to the DP, Ramiro, who did a wonderful job, by the way. So no difference. It was like, again, as a first time director, I felt like I was a lot of hands on of what I wanted. And maybe I have to take my hands off a little bit. I mean, I try to trust everyone as I can, especially on set. I knew, like, I gave them all the information. Like, I want you to here's my brain. I'm going to put you everything down. So I don't do this at all. I don't do storyboards. I never do shit like that, like when I do stuff. But this, I did storyboard specifically just so I can give them the visual fucking like language in my head. So they can see, like, okay, that's what John's seeing. So they know. So, like, yeah.
And then just to extend that a little bit, your storyboards, they were on cue cards,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes,
They
they were on
yeah.
note cards. I
Yeah.
bought note cards and I literally hand drawn, which I can't draw for shit, storyboards,
Yeah.
or like little action scenes, because we did 18 shots for scene one. So but scene one's technically a oneer. Um so I wanted to break down each shot in the oneer so everyone can understand this is part one, this is one, this is two, this is three, this is three quarters, this is five, this is, and so on. So
Yeah.
it was more or less that they can understand that. And I'm like, I can't explain this probably unless I figure out how to break this down to the best of my abilities visually, because sometimes my brain and my mouth don't say the same shit, or never on the same page. And like, as a first time director, I need to be as clear as possible. And that was my biggest like scare in pre-production. One of the biggest scares in pre-production in that respect is getting my visual language translated from other people
Mm.
to other people so they understood
Yeah.
it.
And I'll add on to that too. I think that's something that over time I've had to grow into,
Mhm.
because I don't know how to draw, and I will be honest with everybody that's gonna watch this. I hate storyboarding. I've tried it, I've done it, I don't like it. It's because I'm one of those people. Um, when I see it, and if I can tell you about it, and I can bring it to life, I know I can.
Yeah.
The storyboard, it's like I get so, and it's something that I'm working on as a human being, but it's something that I do get disappointed about when I look at the drawing and I'm like, damn, they're gonna look at this and be like, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what I'm looking at. And
I try. I mean, I can't draw, right? Like I'm saying
Mhm.
before, I did stick figures. I did like corners of shoulders. I knew I could do easy things when I did over the shoulders or anything like that. So I did try to do it simple, but I
Mhm.
also try to color code it too. So like if I'm doing a movement like with the camera or some shit, it was like orange, but green was a movement with it, like of the actual person moving or something like that.
Mm.
I forgot what the color coding was, but I had
Yeah.
it color coded for them to understand that too. So just a heads up there.
Yeah, no, that's actually really perfect, because at that point it turns into directing, you
Yeah.
know, with visually directing than it does you trying to tell somebody what the hell, is in your head. So that's actually
Mm.
perfect, and I think I'm going to use that. Um, what were some of the biggest challenges during development? And the reason why I asked that, and feel free to be as open as you want, but the reason why I asked that is because I think a lot of people look at film, independent film at least, and go, "Wow, this is easy. I could have done this."
Do you mean development as in like the pre-production side of like casting and all that stuff, or
Yeah,
development?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So I mean, one of the hardest things was actually trying to find a location to where we need to get this right. So I went to we talked about Red Rock at one time. We talked about obviously Mount Charleston, and that's where we ended up anyway. But I mean, I went there one weekend by myself, like to see it. Then took my wife with me, and then it didn't look the same the other weekend because it was then now crowded because it was spring break. And I'm like, well, if this is the same thing, are we gonna do this? And then, excuse me, sorry. And then literally, like, I'm looking at Google Maps to look at locations to go, okay, where can I go? And this one popped out that was the I always get wrong. I believe it's the blue tent camp group or group camp.
Mm.
And I went over there, desolate, and I was like, no one's here. This is perfect. Perfect. And like that got lucky. And then I felt a little bit of a sigh of relief from that, because that was like one of the more important things. I'm like, where are we gonna film this? I can't film this in someone's house. We're outside, you know. And another thing was casting. That was like the wildest shit ever. And I think too, like something that's, I mean, okay, this is also a non-paid gig, and I understand that. And people have time and other shit and other things going on, but at the same time, I try to be flexible, and we're trying to figure out nailing down dates. And we're like, hey, are the like, and it's like months out. We're not asking like days out or a week. We're asking probably weeks to months out, right? Because I think we talked about this in March, if I'm not mistaken. We started talking about this,
Yeah,
or
March.
yeah, because or even February a little bit, like towards the
Yeah,
end of
I
February,
think it
and
was
like
the end of February all through
yeah, it was
March.
right after we did miss, right after sorry, after we did Hey, we
Hey,
really getting into this, and we were trying to figure out dates, and like because of the complexity of things and like the amount of scenes we had, it was 2 days and plus a third day for this dream sequence that we're gonna have. And it's like, hey, we need everyone here also to practice, because the problem is like, yes, it's 2 days, they're gonna be long 2 days, but we also need to practice this oneer that we need to go over a handful of times, because if we get the oneer down, repetition, 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 we get less takes to do it on set, which
yeah.
fun fact, we only took 6 takes to do that on set.
Oh wow. With
Yeah.
with the coordination of the
Yep. With
camera
the
and
coordination.
oh
We
wow.
practiced. Yeah. So we
Mhm.
practiced that on the house at my house, and we just kind of
Yeah.
went over a couple handful times, and we shot the dream sequence. But like that was hard because we had someone drop out. Well, first we had someone for Brandon, then we were trying to find a Steve, and then we watched some tapes of people, and I'm like, that's not the Steve we need. And then it was like, this guy works. And then it's like, he's like, oh, I'm interested. And then it's like, okay, cool. Did you read it? Oh, I'm not available this day, this day. Okay, okay, but when are you available? I'm not available till you film. It's like, what?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, we have to pivot. And then we go, and then the script's also growing as well, because at the time we're still rewriting the script, because the script was constantly evolving from that first draft to the second draft of finding the Steve, and then finding the Steve who read for us, Mark Vanis, and having him going, that's a lot different than the first draft, and going, okay, we're on a right track here. And then literally the week before we do our practice film, our Brendan drops out because who knows, whatever. And then luckily enough, within 24 hours or less, I think it may have been 24, we got
It was in that time frame.
yeah, in the time frame.
Yeah.
Literally, like I was at work, and it was like, oh, what? I'm yeah, it was fucking ridiculous. In that time frame, we literally from I think 11 o'clock or 10:30 in the morning till the next that night, we were doing rehearsals, which God bless Lance Sandal uh for that role and landing it, because he was perfect when we did that test screen with him, and him coming Saturday, and like it all worked. And
Yeah.
that was that like that's when you can breathe a bigger sigh of relief also, is like just knowing like, okay, casting's done. Okay, what's next?
Casting did play a big part in it. I remember going, I think I was on my way to work or I had a day off, but I just remember having a breakdown. Yeah.
I remember
You
being in the parking lot of Albertsons because I was grabbing lunch or something, and I was like, just so like I was so upset, so flustered, so frustrated. But then I when my like when it first happened, I was upset, flustered, and frustrated. But then I cooled down and I thought about it, and I was like, no, the reason why we're getting on the case of this is because this and this and this. And I'm like, I can't be flustered, I can't be frustrated. I have to respect what we're trying to do and understand and trust the process. And that's when like it just like that's when like knowing that 24-hour period was like that huge, it just felt like nothing can go wrong after that.
yeah. The
And it was
way
like it was a blessing in disguise, honestly.
the way that this is for the viewers that are going to watch this, the way that we're describing it makes it sound like one of those handheld scenes in the studio where they're
Yeah.
just following them throughout the set and there's so much chaos and stuff going on.
Yeah.
But no, it was one of those things where um hitting back to the actor dropping out, it's one of those things where we try to be as flexible as possible. And sometimes things don't work out. It's not our fault. It's not their fault. Things just don't work out. I think no matter what, it things happen for a reason, and
Yes.
it led you to, I think, one of the best performances that you could have for emotion, and almost dread, if you want me to be honest. That Dan Mark Vanis is so amazing. You, your wife Ashley,
Mhm.
sorry, I'll ask that question again. You, your wife Ashley, and Niall Odom all helped expand the story in major ways. Can you walk us through how that collaboration came together?
Well, I didn't want to write the rewrites the missing. So I believe we talked and you said reach out, I'll reach out, you'll reach out, I believe, or one of us reached out to Niall about that. And then we gave him notes and then he rewrote, and then he did his polish. And then I gave him notes again and he did a polish. And then I took that and I kind of just was like, okay, well, let me rewrite also and go through and kind of like change some verbiage and change some stuff around. And then Ashley helps where my wife, my lovely wife, my wonderful wife, if she's listening to, she's not listening to, she's probably downstairs, or maybe she is, she's outside my door. I don't know, but she like is my voice of reason. So basically I'm like, how's this sound? And then she was like, no, what if you said this? I'm like, that makes more sense. Or like, hey, read this over. Oh, you missed up some commas or you missed up some things. Or like she'd help me help listen to me so I can like say the stupidest shit and then figure out what makes more sense.
Yeah.
So that was always that's always wonderful when she does that. And then on top of that too, it always turns into like, well, what if I did more? She's, you're good. I'm like, okay, cool.
I love that. You always need somebody in your corner for
Yeah.
those things
Yeah.
because it can get
She's
overwhelming.
my she is I give her I write it and I give it to her and I'm like, read it and see if it makes sense. And then ask me questions that don't make sense. And like, what's missing? Like, what do I need to fill in the blanks with? And then it's like, then we talk it out, and it's like, it's very helpful
Yeah. Okay.
because it's nice to have someone like who's not invested in the project or like someone who like understands you at least understands like what you're trying to get at.
Yes. Yeah.
And it can, and also is not, like I said, not invested in the project in the sense of like how I am. I mean, she is, but like she's not like, where I'm all doing the other things. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not fully here, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
She definitely provided clear eyes and open ears.
Yeah.
And I love that when I have people around me that are able to give that, especially as an editor, when you're sitting here, you get so attached and so normalized to what you're looking at. You can actually
Mhm.
make mistakes. So when you have a fresh pair of eyes, it's just like, oh, that don't look right, or
Yeah.
hey, it feels so good. That's actually really nice. I'm not gonna lie, this entire time I was thinking that she was like your voice of reason. She's behind the keyboard just typing away like, John, what do you need? This isn't working. Let's do it
Yeah.
again. But that's really good to know that she was like
She's the voice of reason sometimes though too.
Yeah,
Like she
I
does,
love
because
that.
I like I said, I'll type it and then she'll like fix all my shit and then goes, what do you want to say? Like, fix it like that way. So she is the voice of reason.
I love that. I love that. Ashley, the voice of reason. Now we're gonna get into production.
Okay.
For production, you built an expanded crew for this project
Yes.
compared to past projects that you and I have worked on. Um, what was your process for selecting a team? Um, the individuals that you trust and people that you worked with and gravitated towards you.
Well, I can't say enough about I would say the core three that helped me. I mean, besides you, the other core three was like
Yeah.
Ramiro, Sam, and Lance. And the core four technically was you. Obviously, but but Ramiro's like, well, I want a cam op and a first AC and a second AC. I'm like, whatever you need. Like it turned into like, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
You get what you need. I'd rather have what you need and trust your gut instinct of what you need instead of like me saying no, you can't have that. And it doesn't, like, I'd rather have more bodies than less bodies on top of that. Like Lance and Sam were always like, I'm like, what else do we need? And they're like, well, we need a makeup artist or we need an art director. We need this. You can't do that. You have to like, they put me in my, like, I can't say enough about Lance and Sam. They put me in my place of a director and said, no, you're the director. We'll take care of these things.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I trust you. I'm not going to question you. So yeah.
Yeah. One thing I will say about them, I'll give them their props, Lance and Sam. Romero too, because I've worked with all three of them. But Lance and Sam are those people who they definitely push you, and it's not a push in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Like everything that they provided you, every piece of knowledge. I was literally just having this conversation before we got on this. I've learned from you in what is it, 9-10 months more than I've learned from anybody. I think in a year. And that's one adult to another, one brother from another, like so serious. And I think it's because of people that you have around you, you know, and how much knowledge you take in, and you don't mind sharing that knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't be greedy. You can't
Yeah.
be greedy about the knowledge. Because again, if you're greedy about the knowledge, then who are you going to tell your knowledge to one day?
Yeah.
Like, you have no one.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about that. You have to give off something. You got to give off
Yeah.
something. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced on missing, and how did you overcome them?
The biggest challenge on missing wasn't the oneer, wasn't anything. It was the idea of filming during the day and filming at night, and trying to match the sun and the nighttime to match into the same time. So, like, for example, so we have scene 2A and 2. They go into each other, right? So, or two goes. Sorry, it's getting technical. I'm gonna take it back a little bit. So, the scene we had was them talking at the campfire, right, in the daytime, and then it gets to nighttime by this big climactic point. The problem was we filmed some after on day one. Here's how I made this better. So on day one, we filmed the oneer, which is the first scene, and then we're like, okay, well, let's film scene 2, but go, because it was like, I think it's 12 pages to film, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember my own film, but like, we go from this scene on scene 2 to this scene or this page on scene 2A, because we have to break this up because there's a break or whatever it is, and we'll stop. Right? Okay, cool. We'll stop, and then remember what time it is. That's what time we have to start tomorrow. Cool. Day 2, we come back a little later in the day because we don't have to get there early now because we're done with the morning stuff and all that shit. So we're like, okay, well, it's 5 o'clock. Let's start filming. So now we're filming the rest of this scene, and it's like, okay, the sun's not down yet. Fuck.
So you guys just sit there.
So we know but the thing was, the sun's going down, but it's not dark enough. So we're chasing the sun to finish it to the nighttime when it's down, and then we're behind the sun. So we're trying to, like, not be behind in this sense. So we're trying to chase it and, like, be on the same time to be continuity wise, but because they'd finished earlier, sometimes we ended it where it wasn't too dark enough. So that was the biggest hurdle, and that hurt us. I think that hurt us in post in that respect, and it's something I wish I could have. I mean, if I knew, I mean, it looks fine. I think I've racked my brain around it for months, obviously, but what did I learn from that? I learned never do that again, or just do that smarter.
Yeah, that I understand. I've had a few moments like that my damn self, where it's like, now you know, the better you know.
Yeah, it's something that you don't really think about, and you don't, like, you think, because if you ask me, like, all the pre-production shit I did and thought about, like, I checked every box multiple times and thought about everything. Like, my biggest, like, phrase is, like, be like Batman, like, be prepared for every situation, right? Because Batman is always prepared for every situation, and I was prepared for I thought about every friggin' scenario in the book. I went down like a mental checklist. I'm like, okay, this shit, and I didn't think about that. That's the one thing I didn't really fully think about. And then when you do get there, it's just like so much going on that well, how do I do this? Okay, what do I do here? Okay, well, we'll be fine. Okay, if we did it this way, we're gonna get it. We got it. Okay, don't worry, we'll be fine. Okay, cool. So it's yeah, and then you go back into post and you're like, oh, okay,
Once you make it to post, it's like,
yeah,
oh shit.
yeah, yeah.
Can you describe? I'm sorry, no. What was a particular scene or shot that you're most proud of as a director, and why?
Uh, I think I'm over. I mean, I love the movie overall, so I can't. It's like you asking me to pick a scene. It's like picking my fucking favorite dog, Teddy. But
Oh, wow, I heard that.
no, I love them both equally. But no, if I think one of the biggest accomplishments though for missing is doing a 6 minute one, basically almost a 6 minute oneer.
Mhm.
So taking the risk of doing it's 5 minutes and something seconds a oneer and like just keeping you invested for that 5 minutes and keeping it moving and not cutting at all is just I think the most proudest that we did because we got it in 6 tries. We all thought it was gonna be later. We all thought it was gonna be like probably past 10 takes, but we
Yeah.
did it in 6 and we're like, holy shit, we did it. So
Was
yeah.
it at take 6 where you felt like you got it,
No,
or
take
is there
five
other
is
takes?
take five. We got it, but we did
Mm.
take 6 as a hey, Enrique, our camera op. I was like, just do whatever you like. You just surprise me. I was
Mhm.
like, this is take 5 is perfect. Just do whatever you like on take 6. I just want to give you the freedom to do whatever you like. I don't
Yeah.
want to give him that opportunity. So just flow it how you want to. So
Mm.
he did his own version on take 6. We didn't use take 6, sadly, because I did almost, but because the one thing in the film is very significant. I don't want to give spoilers. I don't know when it's going to come
Yep.
out. So,
Yep. No, you're good.
so the one piece of we start the movie on something, we end the movie on something, and in his wonder we start on the mountains, not on that specific thing. So, yeah,
Mm, I see. I see. You showed the
and
gun. That gun needs to
it's a
go off.
great wonder he too he did. So I'm not like
Yeah.
saying like anything wrong with it. It's just it's just from my mindset of like, okay, my whole thing is this and this. It starts with this, it ends with this. Yeah, complete loop. And
So,
we
let me ask you this since we're on the topic. When you were going through the 6 different takes, like you're at home, you're editing, everything's imported. Do you do you go through and you watch each one, and were you just like, okay, this one works? Did you add any color? Like, what was that process like? Where you were just like, this one, I think you said number 4, number 5.
number
This is the
5.
one.
Well,
Okay,
I just knew
number
number
5.
5 because I remember
Uh-huh.
number 5 was the take.
Got you.
So I knew like it would be 5 or 6, and I just looked at 5 and 6
Mm.
repeatedly, and I was like, okay, they're both great. Which one? Now I'm like, okay, wait, do I do it this? And I sat there and I was like, okay, do I do it with 5 or 6? I'm like, well, if I do it with 6, that's cool too. Then I was like, wait, no, the whole thing is because of this one thing I'm not going to mention.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that it wasn't. It was more like I knew what the take it was.
that's good. I really like that. That's actually really good. Can you describe the visual tone and language that you aimed for, and how that connected to the film's original tone and breakdown?
Anything. Yeah, I think it was more of a show don't tell thing mentality, right? So like I didn't want to show or tell. Well, I showed it as much as I could. I didn't want to tell the audience everything because again, it's more or less like let them think about themselves and put that stuff on the back burner and like more or less it was about the journey of I'm trying to figure out how to say this properly. It was that journey of trust and that journey of faith,
Mm.
right? And believer and non-believer. That's what I got out of it the first when I read it the first draft. I remember telling you that. It was like this guy's a believer, this guy's a non-believer, and that's how we're gonna go with this whole religious theme about the whole thing too. So that was the biggest, I think, tonal shift from there in that respect. But we still kept it post-apocalyptic, kind of a thriller. I kind of guess you can also label it dark drama because I also put that into I look at that at film festival. I'm like, dark drama sounds cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I like that. A dark
yeah,
drama.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah, I get
category.
that a
I'm like,
lot.
okay,
Yeah,
dark drama, I guess.
I gotta look into
Uh,
that more.
yeah, yeah. But Yeah, but I think also visually, some of the visual aspect of it is I want to look at it in two different lenses. So we use anamorphic for Brandon's coverage, and we use spherical for Steve's coverage, Mark's coverage, and anamorphic for Lance's coverage, who plays Brandon.
Yeah.
And I used that because it was more about the wider scope of things and the way the way stuff kind of plays around with stuff, and just giving this idea of like they see the world through this view, they see the world through this view. So I want that visual language to tell that story, but then you put it on the sequence setting as the same thing just to make it even. So it's not like you got wide bars and you got no bars, you got bars, you got no bars, you got
Yeah.
so it looking like Chris Nolan in IMAX.
Yeah.
He's in no IMAX.
He
So
loves his IMAX.
he does. But yeah, I guess that visual language, if that's answering that part of the question, totally, I think because of the way I stripped down the script to build it up again, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
I totally changed it more to religious themes because I thought that was just cooler also.
One of those conversation starters. It's one of those taboo. Um, it's not really a table conversation. Some of the things that um, I'll share this with you. When Mark says something along the lines of feeding a man, you don't really have, especially with everything that's going on in the world today, you don't really have conversations like that at a
Yeah.
table. You know, politics so quick to divide a family really quick. So is saying good morning to a neighbor. So it's one of those things where it's like seeing that in a film makes it socially aware, and I think it helps the audience as well. And I like that.
Well,
I like
even
that.
that, I wasn't trying to be socially aware of like the things around. I think it was more or less like this guy's just a good guy. He wants to help someone. He, he's priestly. That's why he's wearing purple. That's why he's wearing red, because it's based off of Catholic priest robes, right?
Yeah.
So like I was trying to go for that stuff, and like, I mean, I feel like maybe I hit the nail on the head, maybe a little bit, but maybe I didn't. But like, it was more or less too like I want people to walk away with the idea of like faith, right? Like everyone questions faith and like, what do you believe in? Like, who do you believe? What do you believe? And that's really what it's about. Like, again, I think the new tagline of trust, faith, guilt is like really ingrained now into this idea, because I don't think I said that before. We talked about that before. It just sounded cool when I was like doing it. Trust, faith, guilt. I'm like, that kind of sums up the whole film in that respect.
100%.
So I was like, this is what you walk away with. Like, who do you trust? What's your faith? Like, how strong is your faith? And the guilt you feel about things in general. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just because I'm like, oh man.
I like that. I like that. Trust, faith, guilt. That's something that even when writing it, I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm like, you don't think about those things. I damn sure wasn't thinking about trust, faith, or guilt in this movie. What inspired me to write it was, and I'm gonna be honest with everybody that's gonna watch this, I was watching shows like The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really into The Walking Dead like that, but I loved their dialogue. The Walking Dead is dialogue heavy enough for you to just be like, damn, I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know he was going to say that. And it's nothing but words, everything else is pretty much just walking creatures. But The Last of Us, it's always done since 2013. It's always done this thing for me of setting up this world. Like, you don't know what the hell happened unless you watch the show. But
Or
in
play
the
a game.
well, yeah, but even in the game, it was so like you skip those credits in the beginning of the game, and you're pretty much playing the rest of this game going, well, what the hell?
What did I miss?
What did I miss? Who ate who?
Wait, who's infected?
Yeah, what? To where when you watch the show and it's all expanded and you see things, that was my biggest inspiration when it came down to the idea of it. I've never done anything apocalyptic, so I did want to kind of just put these characters in a situation that was different from the other films that I had wrote. So I thank you for bringing in the trust and the faith and the guilt for these characters and expanding on them. we're moving into another category, reflection and the bigger picture as we close out here.
Okay.
What message or emotion do you hope audiences walk away with after watching Miss?
Well, I just answered trust, faith, guilt, right?
I like that one. I like that. Walk out of the movie theater with some trust, some faith, and a little bit of guilt.
Yep. And ironic, I mean, I thought about this more too. Like when I was doing the second trailer and making that whole trust, faith, guilt thing that you see.
Yeah.
If you think about, I mean, spoilers, I guess, it's really like those three slogans actually happen in each act.
Mm,
Like think
wow.
about that.
I would not have known that. That's nice.
I
Guilt.
I literally put that together this morning because I was like, oh shit. Like
Mm,
each the act, because think about
yeah.
act one, it's the form of trust.
Mm-hmm.
Act two, they're talking about faith.
Yep.
Have you read The Last Temptation of Christ? Have you done, like, what does this all mean? All that shit. Then the guilt is in the third act.
Yeah. That boom, that moment.
Yeah.
I like that. That is a good breakdown. I like that. I like that. I like that. Looking back, what did missing teach you about yourself as a filmmaker?
That I can direct. That's what it taught me, right? It taught me that I can be a leader. People trust me. People get behind the message if they understand the excitement that that you bring to the table. If you're excited about a project, be excited about a project. Don't be monotonal about it. I would say, like, that's what I learned from it. Like, just I can do this. I can be a director. Like, I want to direct all the time? No, but if there's a good project that I can believe in, put my heart and soul behind, then yeah, like, and when I do that, like, I think with the amount of steps we took with this project, the amount of like preparation we had for this project, even though preparation was only a month long, if you think about it, I think maybe a month and a half, if anything, like we were prepared for almost every possibility except that damn sun. But like, I think if the opportunity presented itself again, like now we know what to break down, what to do better next time. Like, hey, like this maybe needed a fourth day. Like maybe we should have did 3 days outside and one day. Obviously, we did a half day in practice at the house for the dream sequencing and the outside stuff. So like that, I'm learning like managing a crew, trusting people, right? Like again, how many times have I been on a crew with 18 people? Not many. Not like this. I can say this is like the first, probably safely, I can say this is the first time. Everything we've done has been like what? Like me, you, two other people, three other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I've done like, I think Kevin and Winnie was the second biggest set I did with 6 people or 7 people. And I wasn't the director. I was just the DP. And I
Yeah.
was a producer also for that. So it's just learning and leveling up each time and like knowing like, okay, I can handle 18 people. Like, can I handle
Yeah.
25 people? Like, can I handle a bigger cast next time too? Like,
Mm.
and also I think learning too is like the big thing I need to take away from this, and what it taught me is I also probably need to be better. I think just to probably elaborate more to actors. I think they understood it. They said they got me and stuff like that, but I'm always self-conscious about myself about like, did I do my best? So like I'll always pour more into the idea of like what to do better next time. So like here's a funny example, like the 48-hour film festival or film competition, whatever it's called. I have literally thought about how to make that better for the next time we all do that together.
Mm.
Like, so I'm that type of person that like I look at missing, I go, what can I do better next time? And then take those things and go, let's implement this, this, and this.
Mm. So you're literally, he's literally, guys, he's literally the filmmaking version of Batman. He's prepared for the future. He's building a suit of armor around the world, guys. So I love how I said Batman and gave an Iron Man reference.
Yeah,
I'm so
right.
sorry.
Like, come on, man. I'm not Tony
Uh,
Stark, and I am Bruce Wayne. I'm absolute Batman.
what advice would you give to other cinematographers thinking about stepping into the director's chair?
I would say do it. Just
Mm.
do it. Like, I mean, as Nike as that sounds, like just do it. Like, what do you have to lose, right? I think if you come into the project with the excitement, the passion, the drive to do those things, to finally level up to that highest level on set, in the sense, director. And you like just put your best foot forward, and you believe in the project you're doing, and you put your 100% into it and are authentic. Like I try to be as transparent as possible with a lot of people, everyone I work with, and all the stuff I've done. I communication is key. So like just that transparency, that honesty with all the people on the cast and crew. If you just have that relationship with them and don't be a dick, just be a good person, and they will trust you, and
Yeah.
you will learn to try. I mean, and the thing is too, like I will give you the longest leash ever with my trust, right? And then you have to do something really horrific to break that trust. And once you do, I don't really. It's going to be a longer time to get that longer leash. So you have to learn to trust and give, and they'll trust you back, basically. So it's a lot. I mean, I feel like I'm saying a lot of things that might be like hot air, but
No, I honestly do believe that you're onto something really good there, because there's a lot of people who would look at this and go, as a cinematographer, I can't direct, and it's
yeah,
like, dude, it's little do you know, you've been doing it so far,
yeah,
there's just so many other things to it.
yeah,
When you speak about like communication and how important it is, you're absolutely right. I've known like two or three different cinematographers that I know out in Nevada that do not really talk, like they're antisocial. And those are those same, not to call you guys out, but those are those same individuals that are like on call.
yeah.
They're not out there shooting on their own. They're not out there shooting with some director friend that they have.
Yeah. I mean,
And
shit,
so,
I'm antisocial in a sense. Like
yeah,
I'm an
I do.
introvert, man. Like, but you have to be an extrovert. Like when you're on set, you have to be an extrovert to an extent. Yes, like maybe I won't feel comfortable talking to someone that I just met for the first
Yeah,
time. Like I'm getting a little nervous. Like I won't be like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" But like I'll slow. If we're on a set for more than one day, I'm gonna get to know you. We're gonna get to be
yeah,
friends. Like my friend Carlos, the sound guy for this,
yeah.
we were on here's a story. This is how like extroverted I had to be, and I mean, even though we were on the same set, we were pissed. So we had a common denominator, right?
Hmm.
So after we filmed this early morning thing, and I think he came late. I was like, bro, you want to just come to my house? We have to go to another shoot, obviously another part of the set after this at like whatever time it was. I made him fucking mac and cheese in the morning. And
Oh, wow.
that's how we became like really good friends. Like once that happened, we became like we're best buds, and like we don't talk all the time, like that, but when we do, it's like we never fucking
Yeah.
like
And that's how
never.
you know
Yeah.
you're close as friends. That's how you know.
Yes.
I was having a similar conversation this morning in an earlier meeting with Taylor Torres, our production manager.
Yeah.
And I was telling her, not to get too deep into it, but I was telling her that a lot of times what happens is we get imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling her about when I and Kat had went to the mixer. And I told her, like, I'm good to go at work. I'll say hello, welcome in. I'm not even your sports guy, but I will have that conversation with you.
Yeah.
I'm good to go on a date, drink with family members, all that stuff. But when it comes down to being in a room with my own peers, people that do what I do, there's this sense of, my God, I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah. Or you don't want to be there because you know that all these people are suck. No, I'm kidding.
and hey, maybe that's what it is, But I knew once we started the short films, and once I seen you take on Missing, I said it to myself right there. I told Kat, I told Cooper, I told anybody that would listen, I want to work that hard. I want my projects to be that detailed to where somebody's just like, I'm sick of this man. I'm pretty sure you were probably concerned about somebody being like, oh my God, he's messaging me at 2:00 in the morning.
I always think that. Like I am like Hulk Hogan, like in the sense of like always paranoid.
Yeah. I love it.
But also, let me also say this too, real
Yeah.
quick, about cinematographers that want to direct, right?
Mhm.
In a sense, you are directing when you are behind that camera, because you are directing lights, you are directing the camera angle, you're directing all that shit. You're kind of also giving some input sometimes, like, hey, that guy's moved like 2 inches because of this, that, and the other thing, or whatever it is. Like, you're already kind of directing. Just take that ball and try a slam dunk. You have you have nothing to lose. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It happens. Also, think about this too. There are way too many people in this world that just say, "Oh, I'm a director," when they are not clearly not a director, and they never directed in their whole life. Never went up. I mean, it doesn't matter if you go to film school or not. They just think they can direct, and then like the next thing you know, they just are terrible at it. And it's like, I could have done that. Or even like
Yeah.
a lot of actors too do this too, where they think they can direct, and they think they are gonna be this amazing. I can work with actors. I know this. I know how to act. But sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you had nothing to lose. That's
Yeah.
the whole point of that whole story.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. I think starting out, there's no point in you trying to be an actor's director.
No,
I think you need to be a director's director. There's a lot of work to
the
do.
the thing is just study movies. Like
Yeah,
just I mean and people say that all the time. It sounds fucking cliche. Pardon my French on this thing,
Mm.
but like it's not about watching a movie like the first time and studying and going, oh, there's shadows. Oh, there's a boom shadow. Oh, there's this. Study it as a person watching the movie, as an audience member, as someone like just a lover of movies. Just
Yeah.
watch it and like, do you like the movie? Yes or no? Okay, no. Watch something else. Yes. Let me watch that again another day. But or yes, watch something else, but go back to that later. Maybe by a third, fourth time, then you start breaking it down. Then you
Yeah.
start doing things. Because like here's a fun fact about me, right? As a person who's watched Jaws a billion times or watched Ghostbusters a billion times, Back to the Future a billion times, like all those movies, there are things in there that I have learned subconsciously from those movies as a young child. It
Mm.
probably impressioned upon me that I'm like, oh, that's the Jaws shot, or oh, that's like Back to the Future. Because like you live those things and just watching them imprint it into your brain. Like the Spielberg Warner is a Zemeckis Warner also. The way they both do wonders, where they start with that master, they kind of move in, move out, push in, push out, all that stuff.
Mhm.
So it's like, oh, I want to do a shot like that. Like it's just like watching it over and over again, kind of just subconsciously picking it up too. That's what's helpful.
I like that. That is really nice. I like that. If
Thought I was gonna be good at this.
this one is it's my favorite question. If
Okay.
you could expand
No.
missing
And I'm not saying that I saw that question earlier when she got me there.
Guys, he didn't let me finish the question. If you could expand missing into a feature film, what direction would you take it in? He said no.
I because it's always it's the adrenaline rush of every project after that you go, oh, we can make this a fucking feature film and longer, yada yada yada. But it's kind of like you think about that after the fact and you go, well, I thought about this for Kevin. Like I'll go back to Kevin and Winnie real quick. When I wrote that, I'm like, oh, that's cool. This is great. This is fucking wonderful. We edited this. It looks great. What if we made it longer and expand upon this stuff? It's been over 4 years now since we made that film. So I haven't thought about anything expanding it. Even missing, it's like I can go, wow, what if we expanded that? That'd be great to do. I
What are
feel
we gonna do?
yeah, what are we gonna do? Right? It's like, well, do we continue this story? Like
Yeah.
it's
Do we
like,
tell the same story?
yeah, you tell it like, but where do you go, right?
Yeah.
And where do you have to know when to quit, but in the
Mhm.
sense, in a good way, right? Quit and like you won the war and you won the battles. You are done with them. Like you got the victory. You won World War II. You won the World War One. You don't need to go like try to do Vietnam here or like the Korean War or whatever, like whatever war we didn't win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a terrible analogy here, but like, you don't like
Whatever.
there's you can cut that part out, right? But like like you can just it's just like, okay, it's enough. We don't need to do anymore.
Yeah.
And I've come to that realization, like I don't need to like if someone wants to go, hey, I have more to tell about this story, go ahead. Go continue it. But like I don't think there's more for me to tell. And
Yeah.
I think I'm so like drained, like mentally, spiritually in a sense from this. Like I feel like a big weight is lifted off my shoulders because even though we haven't talked about this, the post-production side of things was just really a mental like breakdown of me with talking about imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Because like in that respect, like I edit this film like that. I was done. I had a rough cut. I was like, okay, we can get this to Telluride by a certain day. But because of my imposter syndrome, because of me not feeling that it was right, looking at the color, looking at making it right, and like trying to figure that out because I'm like, why does this not match? Why does this not do this? I can't do this. I'm a terrible fucking filmmaker, saying all that over and over again and going, I fucking hate this shit. It just wears you down. And it's like, shit. This feels like I can't do this. Like, why am I doing this? And you have to walk away. You have to know when to walk away sometimes because like even now I'm like still invested into the project, but like I was way down a rabbit hole where I was just like pissed off
Yeah.
every time I opened up the project. And I was just so upset with myself because I couldn't do this. And again, this is no budget project. I'm like, who am I gonna get to color this? When am I gonna get this? Like, I can't trust. I mean, it's again, yes, I can trust someone to color, but like, who's gonna do it for free? Like, that's the thing too. And
Yeah.
then what if they don't like? Yes, we have to worry about not them doing a job, but I have to trust them too. There's all those things involved, and then
Yeah.
going, we're not gonna get someone to do sound design now because no one's gonna do sound design now. I have to do sound design, so it's like I took off a couple of months not to touch it. I told you, and I just had to like kind of refresh myself, and I wasn't even like really fully like wanting to film for a hot minute. Like
Yeah.
I've told Ashley, and I probably said this jokingly, and I sounded serious when I said this, and I was probably serious at the moment. I was like, can I just go to fucking like I'm gonna be an HVAC person? Like, can I just do HVAC or like AC or something like electrician? Because I fucking hate this shit so much. Like I'd rather just do that than what I do.
Yeah.
But you know, it's kind of like the thing where it's like, what can I do to fix it? Can I fix this anyway? And then I'm like, well, let me try plug in for DaVinci Resolve. And then that just opened the floodgates of like being able to color with that. Because if I didn't do that, I don't think missing would be done now.
Mm.
Honestly.
Was that resulting to resolve? Was that like a last resort option? Did you think about? Oh, okay, got you.
That was like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna try Resolve. I'm gonna see what happens. Well, I don't give a fuck. Like I honestly was like, I don't give a shit anymore. Personally, like I was at a point where I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna see what happens. Screw it. And then, luckily enough, it worked out well, and I felt a lot more positive. I mean, it sounds like I'm like geeking out about tech and shit, but like also here's the thing too. I had a PC and my PC monitors were like $100, $120 each or whatever it was. So they're not like the greatest monitors to look at. So when I looked at it on my phone, I was like, this is really saturated. What the fuck am I doing wrong here? And then looking at my laptop, I'm like, oh shit, this is better. So now I'm like, let me just try Resolve. So I'm
Mm.
like, how do I do this? Because I'm using Apple ProRes RAW. And and then obviously there's the video about this on YouTube if you want to see this, but I don't have to go on about it. But luckily enough, yeah, like, I got it done. And I put a date to get it done into the film damn short film festival. So we're waiting for that notification. But we'll see.
I love that. I love that. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. And you guys heard him. There will be no expansion. We're not gonna. There's been no expansion. He wouldn't
No.
expand on it. There's no feature. But finally, how would you describe missing in one sentence?
Well, I have 3 short words.
Trust, faith, and guilt.
You answered my question. Thank you.
I love it. John, Missing comes out November 15th. It's also your birthday as
Yes.
well. So
And I'm a selfish prick.
do you have anything planned other than watching Missing?
No, well, we have a bunch of people coming over to the house Saturday. Well, I don't know when this is airing, so if it's before Saturday, they're coming over Saturday. If it's after Saturday, they came over already on Saturday. So yeah, we're having about I think 20 people so far coming over the house to watch
I
Missing.
unfortunately work there.
Yeah,
yes.
or 22 people. There's about 4 other people that I'm waiting for a response. It could be maybes. But yeah, it's gonna be really nice to have like just friends and the people that from the cast and crew of Missing who can make it come see it. We're hopefully, if it doesn't rain, my friend's letting me borrow his projector, so we're gonna put that in the backyard. If it doesn't rain, and we'll try to fit it up on the stone backyard I have thing, whatever
Oh, that's nice. Yeah,
stone
yeah.
fence. But I
Yeah.
don't know because like I don't know if we can nail that shit in. So it's a 50-50 shot. We'll see what happens. But it's like also an 85% chance of rain on Saturday.
What?
Yeah, yeah. Did you not know that? It's like
No.
it's like hold on.
I'm gonna be
I'll tell
honest
you
with you,
exactly what it is.
I
As
stopped
we
checking
looked,
the
it was
weather.
supposed to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now it turned into like Saturday. 100% chance of rain right now.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
it'll be
and
a
there's
rainy
supposed to rain
day.
like from Monday to Friday next week.
So God is just saying, I don't care if you have to go to work. That's
Yeah,
oh wow.
yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Um. Oh well, I answered my last question. I mean, I asked my last question. How would you describe Missing in one sentence? Trust victim.
Yeah, there you go. There's the answer. Like that's the tagline. That's honestly the tagline. Yeah.
I think which that question was definitely a trick question. I just wanted to see, if you felt like,
You just want me to do it because like
Hollywood.
you promised some other 2-parters and like we haven't delivered on those yet.
Oh yeah, no, I
Like
the two-part thing.
like collection. I'll throw it out there, Mister.
Yeah.
Like or do a part 2. I'm like, did you just say you're not going to do a part 2 of anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Collection. Well, here's the thing. Some things I'm gonna say this because I care about every film that we did. I was not happy with Collection. I think Collection was one of those films where um I thought that the script could have used a little bit more. So when I sat down and I said, "Oh, I would like to do a Collection part 2," I was already thinking about the future. Like, what could we throw at our audience where they'll go back and watch the first one? And then we went on to If You Lost It All, and then we went on
Well,
to
love goes, and then if you lost it
Love
all.
Goes, and then If You Lost It All. And then after a while, I just said, "Fuck it." I just said, "Listen, we need to move on. There's no reason to go back and explain what happened to her. It's not important,
Yeah.
I don't think any of those short films I would expand on, probably except Hey, but there's still things that I would do majorly different than what we've seen. So I don't think people would be interested in I how could I say this without sounding like a dick? I think it being tight and closed and tight knit like that was perfect. In the event that you tend to expand things, then you have to explain things. And
Yeah.
I'm one of those people like not everything needs to be explained. Like I like watching a movie not knowing the exact ending. Like I can leave here going, okay, great. I think one of the movies that helped me actually realize that, and I hope nobody hates me for this, but the movie that helped me realize that is The Dark Knight. When he was running and there's this monologue and I'm like, this is stupid. Like this is probably one of the dumbest endings to a movie that I've seen.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it. Like I'm okay. I understood the messaging. I got it.
I get it.
I get it.
I understand.
I get it. But did you want to close this out? Anything?
I want to thank everyone. First of all, thank you for giving me the script. And then second, I thank everyone on the cast and crew, Mark Vanis, for cast first, Mark Vanis, Julia, her mom, Laura, Lance Sandel, like those players in the game.
Yeah.
Like I in no particular order. I didn't mean to like
No, yeah.
so
They're all in it.
What I'm just trying to remember everyone's name here. And then you have like obviously Sam, Lance, Ramiro, Chad, Zach, Carlos, Mark, you have Giselle, you have Luis, you have Helene, you have Shay, you have Ray, you have Salma, like all the people that were in the crew. I feel like I'm forgetting someone, and I have to check now my Miller note to make sure I didn't forget anyone because oh my god, if I forgot someone, I feel so bad because it's I don't mean to. Okay, I said yeah. Oh, Cody for doing the behind the scenes. Thanks to him also. Enrique or came up. We can't forget him also. I think I got everyone then. I think I named everyone from that. From the bottom of my heart, I I mean this like without them, missing would not be missing would not be mission accomplished
Mm.
without them, because they all brought something to the table. They all saw the vision. They understood the vision. I trusted them. They trusted me. And, I'm really excited and really, I think, just grateful that we're able to have this out now. And, I'm past the point of a low point in my life of 2025 in that respect. And we're on a high, feeling really good about this. It's not every day you can make a movie, and being the first real, feeling like a real director in that respect, it's just it feels great. Like it feels there's a weight lifted off. Let me just say this too, because I want to give a really positive story at the end of this. Yeah, I think this is one of the nicest things anyone's ever done for me. When we finished Missing, and I don't know whose idea this was, but everyone signed who was there the script. And the exact feeling, I can kind of get emotional actually right now thinking about this. But there's a feeling of like, oh my God, this is the nicest gift I ever got in my whole life. Like honestly, it feels like the nicest gift I ever got in my whole life. And I mean that 100%. Like I didn't expect it, didn't like know that was gonna happen. And after they gave it to me, I was just, like so taken aback. I had to step away, and like I actually cried because it was just like this emotional weight of all these things finished. And it's like we finished it, we made it, we did it, and like just that this green script of the green version of the script, and everyone's name just it was like the sweetest thing ever.
Mm.
And it's like I have it mounted on my wall in my office, like because it's just so fucking awesome, and I love everyone.
So, if you can, what is what is what's the future like for John DiMarco? Like, is there another short film in the works? Are you?
There's no other film in the works. I'm
Mhm.
slowing down 2025. I'm editing a short film right now. I'm gonna take it easy probably the rest of the year unless we film. But yeah, I'm gonna take I mean, I did 11 short films.
And what was your goal? We didn't talk
My
about
goal
that.
was
You had a
6.
goal.
My goal was 6. I ended with 10 or 11. I can't remember exactly because there might be one that pops up in December, but I'm not too sure yet. So that would be number 11, I think. If I did that, it's 10 right now. I did 3 in September.
My
I did too much. Yeah. So it's kind of like I want to do 6. Like that'd be, one every 2 months, but then it turned into 11 or 10 or 11. So,
Well, I will say this. It's not about what you do, it's what you do. It's what happens to other people when you do what you do. And
yeah.
I think that the fact that everybody was willing to sign that script is confirmation that what you're doing is going to change people's lives, whether it's today, tomorrow, or next year. I think, and this is coming from the bottom of my heart, I think you're one of the best people that I've met this year alone.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. You and your lovely wife as well. Can't forget about Ashley. We love her dearly. But I think you being so personable, you being reasonable at that, because there's a lot that we went through with these damn short films. But you educating us, educating me, just being that listener, because I know I've called you numerous of times for a few projects.
Well, same. I mean, same.
But what are friends for?
Yeah.
So with that, John, I will let you go. I appreciate everybody watching this. I don't know when it's gonna come out. I think it might come out after your birthday.
Whenever you want to do it. I mean, it's your video.
Okay, well, I'll get to editing the moment I receive some footage, and we'll get into it. All right.